Hey guys, it's Rachel. It's Thankful Thursday, and as ever, you've got me, and you had Kel this week as well. This week, we're following on from a rota that Molly has set up for us. Molly, who makes videos on Tuesday, and we're actually this week going to be discussing the different ways that people view someone who's overweight. As really sort of lazy and weak-willed v an addiction to food. I know this week we've been dealing with people's judgments and the stigma, and even, you know, being overweight, underweight, not sort of only being what you are. And I'm gonna today look at sort of how somebody becomes, you know, very overweight and more so obese, really. Whether obesity is an eating disorder or, you know, is it a disease. What I first want to say is I almost feel like I need to give a disclaimer, because I don't want to offend anybody, and I don't want to sort of say the wrong thing and end up upsetting any of our viewers. I've never been overweight or obese. Nobody in my family has ever been overweight or obese. Whether that's just good genes or sort of good health, I'm not sure. I know that I was certainly brought up in a family where I was taught, you know, how to have balanced meals, the sort of foods that were good or bad, and I don't really like that, because I think that anything in moderation, and I think that's kind of the key. And I was very fortunate. My mum cooked everything from scratch, very organic, very fresh, and was really good with us, really. And so the fact that I developed an eating disorder was kind of a bit odd, really, especially considering I was kind of one of only a small group of my friends who was brought up with such sort of healthy food habits. But that has stayed with me now, and I'm incredibly grateful for that, to be honest. I like to think that I eat very healthily, allow myself all sorts of different foods, and yeah, just very balanced, really. And I do have chocolate, and I do have sweets, and I do have things that are high in fat, and you know, all of this, and it's just eating a healthy amount, and being active. So today, okay, how does somebody become overweight? I don't think being overweight is that big a deal. I think that we are all different shapes and sizes. We all carry weight in different ways. Some of us are, you know, smaller than others. Some of us are bigger. Some have women's bodies with boobs and hips, you know. Men vary as well. You know, my dad is a very broad build. That's just how he is. And you know, yeah, we all differ. And so for me, it's not so much a size issue, though. I do believe if you're very overweight in terms of obese and very underweight, that is problematic. But I don't think kind of being a little bit either side of those things is a problem. And even if you're normal weight or underweight or overweight, for me, it's more about what your relationship with food is. So do I think obesity is an eating disorder? Yes, I do. But then I have to try and define what an eating disorder is. But I certainly think that people who are obese have developed patterns, unhealthy patterns with food, and even when they, you know, my friends are all different sizes, you know, and what is most essential to me, and I say the same with my girlfriend last year, you know, I can cope with somebody being very overweight or underweight if they are starting to develop healthier eating patterns and they are eating a decent amount. And so yes, it's healthy to be within your healthy weight range. I say yours because I don't think anybody can give us a standard. That I think it has to be what you are. That if your food patterns are there, then that's a lot better. Personally, this is the size I am, and I'm you know, UK size 10. That's what I've always been ever since I kind of developed when I was kind of like 16. Sometimes I'm a bit smaller, sometimes I'm a bit bigger, but this is what's healthy for me, and I think that that's what's key. So if you are on that other extreme, very underweight or overweight, I do think it's a problem, and I do think that you need to look at that and address that, because to be either of those extremes is unhealthy, and it needs challenging. It does, because you owe that to yourself, because you deserve to be healthy. So is obesity an eating disorder? Yes. Is it a disease? Well, yes, because an eating disorder is a disease. People vary greatly. I know that there's been times when I've lost weight or been quite underweight, but been eating very healthily, and it just was because I was more active or something. And maybe there's times when people gain some weight. I mean, I don't really know anybody who gains weight over Christmas. It seems to be this kind of myth, but I think it is normal for people to put weight on and then fluctuate with their weight. And so what I kind of want this video to highlight is that it is an addiction. An eating disorder is an addiction. Whether you're eating or not eating, it's an addiction. It doesn't mean you're lazy. It doesn't mean you're weak-willed. That's crap. And there seems to be this stereotype that if you're anorexic, you're so contained and controlled, and if you're obese, you're not. And yeah, maybe there is some truth to that in regards to the heavy restriction that a lot of people put themselves under when they are very underweight. But it doesn't. It's got nothing to do with will. It's just not. And I know, God, even when I was recovering, and the people closest to me said some of these things to me, and I was like, "Are you insane?" They'd be like, "I wish I could just not eat like you." And it was like, that's not a good thing. And that doesn't mean that you're weak or lazy or fat or because you can't starve yourself or stuff yourself. Be grateful that you can be normal around food. And that's the other thing I want to say in this video, is that you can be normal around food, and it does happen. I never thought I'd see the day, and it's here. And I know so many people who aren't there, but I know quite a good handful of people who are, and a lot of these people are on this channel, and they provide inspiration, they provide hope, and they show you that we're all different shapes and sizes on these videos. That's just how it is. And yeah, maybe some of us need to gain a bit of weight, lose a bit of weight. It doesn't really matter. What matters is that we're dealing with our food issues, and we're not using food to emotionally regulate ourselves. And so this compulsion to eat, or this compulsion to starve, unfortunately, is where we're at in society at the moment. And that has been highlighted by the fact that there's a new series of Super Size v Super Skinny, and the fact that we're in crisis when it comes to our bodies and when it comes to food, because we're either this way or that way. We're either so emaciated and starved, or we're gorging, and neither extremes are healthy. And that needs considering, and that needs thinking about. And I hope that this video maybe reaches a couple of people and makes them sort of address whether the relationship they have with food is healthy or not, and not make this necessarily about weight or losing weight or gaining weight, but establishing something that's healthy. And that for me is your 3 meals a day, 4 meals a day: breakfast, lunch, dinner, supper and snacks. Okay? And that to me is healthy eating, and that is the ideal, as it were. I'm going to go, guys, because I'm running out of time now. I hope I've made a bit of sense, and I haven't upset anybody, and I hope you all have a really great week, and I'll see you next week, guys. Oh, and I'll have new hair. New hair. Okay, bye.